Hi guys, and welcome to another review. This time around I bring you the latest from GIZAUDIO, a collaboration with Binary Acoustics, and it's a 1+3 that he has been working on with them for a couple of months now. Binary Acoustics, it's a Chinese company that's basically known internally in the internal market. They've had a number of models which have been successful in the internal Chinese market, the D2 Auto, the D1 Intro, the EP1D. So there have been a couple of models that they've been basically showcasing their abilities in the manufacturing of IEMs and sound reproduction. Let's put it that way. Anyway, this is the box of the Chopin. It's a very unusual box in the sense that you're expecting to take away a sleeve or something, and when you open it up, actually, and when you remove the plastic cover, it actually opens up in this way, which is quite cool, quite different, novel, different take. So it's always nice. It's always a pleasure. Let's put it that way. Inside, you are greeted with these three cases, with these three boxes. These two, one brings some paperwork, as you can see here. Not really anything interesting, let's put it that way. And over here in this other little box we have the cable, a cleaning tool, and the tips. I'll show you the tips in a second. The cable is a 4.4. Look, let's be frank here. This is a cable in terms of its appearance that usually comes with much cheaper IEMs. So for an IEM which will cost anywhere between $150 and $200, I have to say that I was expecting something a little bit more girthy, more a little bit, something else special. I mean, especially being a collaboration with GIZAUDIO, I'm sure that a nicer cable would have been nice. I mean, I don't think I'm being too hard. I'm just being honest. Okay, so that's the cable there, all right, and then the carrying case. Again, and I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm being hard or anything, but this is as generic as you can possibly get. This is a sticker with Binary Acoustics and GIZAUDIO's name on it. I mean, to be honest, it looks really cheap. You open it up, and fair enough, it brings these two bags, which supposedly the IEMs were inside, but no, the IEMs were floating around. So a little attention to detail there in terms of how the packaging should be done. And then it brings, well, the tips were in the other little box, and then it brings these tips, which are actually quite nice. And these are the tips that I ended up listening to and using on the Chopin, because they do their job perfectly. They do what they're supposed to do really well. If you notice carefully, I'm trying to see if I can. Let's see. There we go. If you notice carefully, that's a pretty wide bore that they have there. Sorry about that. That's a pretty wide bore. Why? Because the bore of the Chopin, I'll show it to you in a second, is quite girthy, quite wide. So anyway, let's just get this out of the way here so we can talk about the Chopin in a little bit more detail. Naturally, as if I'm not using the stock cable, I am using an IVPIQ cable. Honestly, this is something that I thought would come with the Chopin, a nice looking cable, something that really kind of made it stand out. As for the IEMs themselves, they've got a little bit of an unusual shape, but let me tell you something, in terms of fit, at least for me, absolutely amazing. One of the nicest fitting IEMs that I own. Honestly, one of the nicest fitting IEMs. By looking at the shape, you wouldn't think so, but if you actually look carefully, you'll notice that it's got a long nozzle. I'm using the medium-sized tips, and what this basically has enabled me with this long nozzle, the medium-sized tips, and the actual shape of the shell is to insert the Chopin really deep into my ears. And I cannot, make this or a more important detail to bring to you guys' attention. Always, if possible, try and really get a deep insertion, because the difference in sound is absolutely unreal. Honestly, it is absolutely unreal. Fair enough, some of us, our ears just won't allow it. Some of us, it might even happen that yes, fitting it a little bit more outside of the ear will actually work better. I'm not going to say it, but my experience and with all the IEMs that I've listened to, and Every single time I am able to put an IEM deeper into my ears, or I am capable of getting it to be just slightly more inserted a little bit, the difference that I personally gain in sound is so much. And with the people that I usually deal with, when we talk about this issue, they also gain so much that I can only conclude that, I'm not going to say 90%, I would say for 85% of us, if you can get a deeper insertion, I think it brings true benefits. But anyway, that's enough of that. The shell is a resin printed shell, as you can see. Black color. It's got metal, well, not a metal faceplate, it's just a kind of a plate, okay, on the faceplate. It doesn't really say anything. I mean, it does, but you can't really figure it out because the letters are a little bit too small. I honestly, would have liked to have seen Chopin kind of a little bit more in detail, and just look. I know it's going to be easy to identify them as a Binary Acoustics Chopin once people get used to them, but for those that don't know what it is, just make it a little bit more evident what it is. It's not. It can be done in a nice way. Anyway, fit, as I said, is perfect. I've got nothing to say about the fit. The build quality overall is beautiful. Nothing to be said as well as about it. Just it would have been nice if the latching would have been a little bit more prominent. Something that would showcase more the name. In terms of hardware, it's like I said, it's fine. The only things that I would have liked to have seen better would be a better quality cable. I think it's fair what I'm saying. I'm not beating too hard and asking for something of a better quality, especially when you consider this might be around the $200 price bracket. And the tips, okay, you've just got one set of tips, but it's fine. The tips work fine. If they could have added a few more tips, that also would have been nice. And then a better case. And the reason why I say a better case was with the other collaboration that GIZAUDIO did. With Let's Sure, they used such a nice case. I mean, seriously, guys, they did a nice case. How can you do a 180 and then present us and give us, on a product of this price, give us a case like this? I'm sorry, no. This is one detail that, no, for an IM of this caliber, no. That's it. Let's talk about now what I have here, and let's talk about the sound. I selected some IEMs, because I liked them. First of all, that was one of the criteria, and also the other criteria was because they have a price which kind of is centered around what the Chopin will be. And the third criteria as well was that the sound that they gave was kind of similar, or had aspects, had DNA, had a common DNA shared here with the Chopin. The first one is the Celeste, the Phoenix Core. Next to it, I've got the Tension Cara. Next to that, the Full Performer 5, a long time standing, one of the recs that I usually give for a hybrid at around the $200 price bracket. Next to that, the C Audio UMA 2, again another rec that I usually give, and an IM that very much went under the radar. And finally, the Soft Ears volume on that side there. We're talking $129 there, $170 around here, around $190 for this, about the same for that, and about $270 there for the Soft Ears. This, like I said, if it costs $150, then its price is more around these values. Yeah, if it costs around $200, it will be more along the lines of the Full Performer 5 Tension. The Soft Ears is unquestionably the most expensive. Yeah. Okay, sound. Let's talk sound now. The moment I heard it, I was really impressed. I'm not gonna beat around the bush here and say, oh no, this, no. Straight to the point. If I was straight to the point with regards to the accessories and the cable and so on, I'm going to go straight to the point with regards to the sound. The moment I heard the Chopin, I was like, wow, this plays well. Well done, GIZAUDIO. Well done, seriously, well done. Not that the Galileo wasn't a nice sounding IM, it was. And I've said that compared to other IMs in its price range, I actually preferred it. I just thought that it just needed a little bit more extra detail up top. The upper mids and treble, just a little bit more detail, and it would have been perfect. But for, let's say, a first attempt at giving the market an IM, and an IM that, you know, was trying to follow his kind of sound signature and so on and so forth, that was, I think, a successful attempt. Priced at around $100, perfect. Now he's entered the $200 price bracket, so tougher. He's got more competition to go up against. All right. With regards to the sound, it is, and what I'm about to say here might generate some controversy, might not generate some controversy, I don't know. When I saw the first graphs of this, I looked at the graphs and I said, okay, this looks like something that Mr. Chronicle would have done. And this is no offense to GIZAUDIO. I'm not nothing. The whole vibe of the way it was done, and there is, I think, a strong possibility that yes, he did help, or that he did give his input with regards to how the Chopin was or could be tuned. And that even becomes more evident when you start seeing some of his work, and you kind of start putting one and one together and seeing what comes out of it. The IEMs that I think could have possibly served as somewhat of an inspiration here for the Chopin are the following ones. Okay, let me just get them here. All right. The original Truth Year Zero is an inspiration, but I'm actually not going to delve too much into it, because the Zero Red is a closer and a much better approximation of what was perhaps the idea to be obtained here with the Chopin. Okay, so I'm just gonna, although I've got it here, I'm gonna not talk too much about it. I think the Chopin was perhaps inspired, or there was some possible inspiration gotten from not only the Truth Year Zero, the Red edition, but also the Truth Years, the Hexa. The Hexa, because it's a 1+3. Okay, that's a 1+3, although it uses an 8mm metallic ceramic driver, so and that driver there is really special. Then the two BAs, one is a custom one for the mids, and the other two are custom for the highs. Kind of the same situation as on the Hexa. When you actually look at the way that the mids, upper mids, and treble are done, there's a lot of similarity between the two of them, not only in terms of energy but in terms of curve as well. Okay, a lot of similarity. What I find is that the Chopin corrected a little bit of the minor deficiencies, let's put it that way, that existed in the Hexa, okay, in that department. And then when you look at the bass, especially the way how it's been done, which is a tucked bass, so very sub-bass prominent, tucked by 200 Hz, it's flat. It is very much a clinical thing that he's done countless times, and he was the one that actually introduced it with the original Zero. And on the Zero Red, when you put the 10 ohm adapter, the bass that you get, the style of bass that you get, the way it sounds, everything is very, very, very similar to what the Chopin has. Okay, so this is my opinion. I'm not saying this is what happened. This is just my opinion. I think that they could have fetched some inspiration in terms of the Chopin and how it was going to be tuned in the Hexa and in the Zero Red, combined what they both had of the best that they had, which it was in this case the way that the mids, upper mids, and treble were done, and in this case the bass. Combined the two and gave us the Chopin. Okay, that's just my opinion. Again, I don't want to generate too much controversy by saying something like that. What does then all of this that I've just said mean? It means that it's got a really nice sub-bass. Really, really nice. And considering it's an 8mm driver, I even praise it more, because it's really well. It's got a great tonality, a great temper. It's good speed, good control. It resolves complicated music in terms of the bass. There's no, it's got a good amount of slam, even though it does tuck quickly and doesn't like really glide or anything. It's got a nice amount of slam. It has been I think it's a really well executed bass, kind of wanting to simulate or emulate a subwoofer, let's put it that way. And then you have the BAs basically taking care of the rest of the frequency range, much like in the zero red. You have the 10 millimeter handling the sub bass like a subwoofer, and then the 6 point something millimeter driver handles the rest. So that department, beautiful. The mids, I mean, flawless, really, really good. They are smooth. The pin again is relaxed. No unnecessary energy. It matches the bass that is present nicely. Female vocals come across really good. Although having said that, in some music, some songs, let me give you an example. In some songs, like for example, let me see here, Swept Away from Carol Duboc, you do get instances, especially when you start pushing the volume, that a voice can just be just a little bit too overly intensive, but nothing that is offensive, nothing that I was, oh no, I can't listen. No, that was one of the songs. But overall, for the majority of the times, the female vocals are amazing. Male vocals really good. Female vocals are the ones that still shine the most. They are the ones that are, in my opinion, better executed. The male vocals, they're all good, they're smooth, there's nothing wrong with them. Just that sometimes I feel that they lack a little bit of extra detail. That's all. Okay. But again, not a deal breaker, nothing that's offensive or anything of the sort. Treble, upper mids and treble, well executed, plenty of energy there, plenty of detail, and the overall energy that they bring forward is very much balanced or matched by the bass that is also present. So overall, I find the whole presentation, it's kind of got an harmonish signature. It's very smooth, very balanced throughout. There's no real areas of concern of being too hot or too energetic or anything, or any areas where they've dipped the sound by too much. No, everything is being very well done. It, in terms of graph, and when I show it to you now in a second, you'll understand what I mean. In terms of graph, when you look at the graph of the Chopin, you compare it with these ones. But if I have to compare it with the zero red and with the hexa, it kind of sits between the it's like a combination of those two. Honestly, it's basically a combination of the two. And if I have to compare it here with some of the IMs that are here, it graphically is very similar to the graph of the Cara using the Fudu tips, although sonically it's more detailed than the Cara. And I'm already like jumping ahead, but we'll get to that. Okay, anyway, so that's basically it. In terms of frequency response, it's nice, it's smooth, there's nothing of concern there. Bass is very good. I mean, that's the start of the show without a question, the bass. And in the mids, I would say, are a close second. The area where I don't give it an equal rating, but the difference is minimal, is just in the treble, because sometimes for me it got just a little bit hot with some specific songs and with some female vocals. That's the only area there. But otherwise, putting that aside, perfect. Technically wise, soundstage, plenty wide, good height, not so much depth. Imaging spot on, really good in the imaging department. Timbre and tonality, again, very, I mean, for me, it's perfect. Everything sounds very realistic, very true. There's no overemphasis or anything. Even though it's got all that bass, I didn't find it to be overemphasizing any instrument or anything. So timbre and tonality was fine, and resolution as well, pretty good. If I have to choose the best or the ones, the technicalities that stand out, definitely the imaging, and then the timbre and tonality and the detail retrieval are a close second. Technically it's very capable. It's a very capable IM, but still maintaining a very high degree of musicality. You can, I mean, I don't listen to all genres of music. I just sometimes do listen for the sake of my reviews and so on. But with my music, there was nothing that it didn't play properly, which tells me that in terms of its ability to play a wide genre of music, it was well tuned. They did their homework there. Okay. All right, let's do then a comparison here with the the IEMs that I have here in front of me. Okay, which are the IEMs that it sounds the most close to, or which is the IEM that sounds the most close to it? In a quick A/B, have one in, take it out, put another one in. Which is the one? The soft ears. It is actually quite interesting how much it sounds. They both sound so similar. In terms of the bass, they both have the same sort of bass, although there it's gliding and here it's that tucked style, but the bass is very similar. It's got the same weight, it's got that same those same guts, okay, associated with it. It's resolving, its detail. I've always liked the bass of the volume, mind you. I've always thought the volume had really good bass. So great bass, great bass on either. Mids as well, very similar. And although the mids there are graphically more energetic, there are occasions actually where they do sound a little bit more tame, and those few songs that I was sometimes finding in the Chopin to be just a little bit too on there, I don't find them. On the volume, actually, they are sounding fine. All right, but please, this is a nitpick. Don't take too much into it. You know, this is a nitpick. I have to try and well, I don't have to. If it doesn't have problems, I'm not gonna come up with problems. But what I'm saying is, I'm trying to say as much as possible, you know, the goods and the bads that it has, although the bads are very minor, so there's really nothing bad to say about it. That's the reality, you know. It's this, the minor flaws that it has are minor flaws and more than acceptable. And most importantly, there might be flaws for me, but for the majority of you, or for some of you, it might not be a flaw even. It might be something that you listen to it and you say, sounds fine. This is how I wanted it to sound. Okay, so that's the most similar. These two, the Performer 5 and the Yume 2, very similar. And then there are similarities in the Cara and in the Phoenix Call. There are similarities, but you can very easily tell which is which. Okay, the one way that you can tell straight away that you're listening to the Chopin is that in terms of its volume, it plays very loud with very little power. So it doesn't need a mega amount of power to make it, you know, do its thing. But I will say that the source does make a difference. I used the A50S with the M15. I used the NX7 with the Kane RU7. With that one, actually, it sounded even nicer, but I lost, so musical, but I lost a little bit of the detail that I liked with the combination of the M15 with the A50S. So, you know, keep that in mind. It's got the ability to be very detailed if you give it a source which is also going to be on the detail end of things. If you give it a warmer source, it will lose a little bit of that detail. Okay, so let's just quickly then like set its position next to these ones. Next to the Phoenix Call. The Phoenix Call is, as you guys know, I really like it. I think that for what is being done there, for the price, it is an absolute beast of an IEM. And in terms of the overall, not the sub bass, but the mid bass that you get here, and that fun factor that you get out of this bass, you know, is very much matching, not in overall volume, but in quality, very much matching the Chopin. I got the same kind of, wow, I like this bass. It's got this nice bounce to it. There's this nice musicality to it. Both of them in that aspect, fine. The mids on the mids, upper mids and treble on the Celeste, on the Phoenix Call, are excellent. Again, nothing to say. I honestly do, and I repeat it, and I stand by it. I do think that it shoots way above its price point. There are IEMs costing way more money that are not as capable as the Phoenix Call, but you do feel, or you do see that although it's very technical, it just stays just ever so slightly behind the Chopin. Not major. I mean, they trade blows very consistently, but it does stay overall at the end. It does stay slightly behind the Chopin. Considering that it costs what it costs, I don't think that's a bad showing, to be honest. You know, it just goes to prove that Celeste did a good job with the Phoenix Call, and they know what they're doing. They know how to tune as well. That's the reality. But you know, I'm not really gonna say okay it's a bloodbath, yeah, because it isn't. If you have a Celeste Phoenix Call, is this a worthwhile upgrade? I would say it will very much dependent on on what you like listening to. Okay, if you like music which is a little bit more on the vocal detail, if you like that more clinical kind of sound, I would say that okay, I can see a place for the Chopin there. If you just like, for the pure musicality of it, they are both so capable that I don't think there is enough there to justify the upgrade. Okay, so it's very close. Although yes, like I mentioned, there are things that the Chopin does do better, a little bit more detail, just a little bit more twinklies and sparklies. All right, compared to the Cara. The Cara, in terms of volume, I mean, you put them at the same volume, and the Cara sounds dead. So if you are able to volume match, the Cara does have a really good bass. Yes, it does, but it's not as snappy, not as impactful as the bass on the Chopin. So the bass of the Chopin clearly better than the Cara. The Cara, in terms of the mids itself, is very good. The mids are very nice, very evenly matched. I would say maybe the male vocals here are slightly better than in the Chopin. But then what happens is up top, although it seems to graph in a way which is similar, that there doesn't have the same sparkle, the same finesse, and this does come out on top. Considering that they are probably going to be very closely priced, this is a better choice. It is, in terms of the sound. In terms of the overall package, accessories, and so on and so forth, I give that to the Tenstrom. That in that aspect, the Tenstrom is a better option. That's it. Performer 5. I've always liked the Performer 5. I think it's an amazing IM. What they did, what they brought to the market, the smart technical implementations that they used. Yeah, the length of the tubes being a specific length, so that certain frequencies are the ones that are more emphasized or more predominant, and also to do away with the resonances by using those specific lengths of tubes. The very smart RLC crossover network they use, the whole build. I mean, the Performer 5 is an amazing IM. The biggest difference that you will see here is just that little extra lushness of the bass here over the Performer 5. They both have an 8mm driver. That's just got one more BA. This has got one less. But overall, the sound is very similar. Is it a worthwhile upgrade? No, not really, because you're going to get a little bit more lushness in the bass. Yeah, maybe the occasional song they are here, with a little bit, not even better presentation or better detail, just a different manner of doing it. But overall, no, they are at most side grades. There's no real winner or loser in these two. Okay, while here, yes, you can consider the Chopin a better choice. Okay, here with the Performer 5, not so much. C Audio Yume 2. Very similar. I mean, what I just said about the Performer 5 applies itself to the Yume 2. The Yume 2, again, a fantastic IM, went underrated completely. I personally think it's got great bass, and the fact that it's using two BAs only then to do the rest of the frequency range, and it's so well executed, I think it's, where do you see the differences here in these two? A little bit extra detail here as compared to that. A little bit more sub bass here as compared to that, but not enough, for me to once again justify, no, this is a better IM than that one. It makes sense to buy it, and no, it's not. Again, at most they are side grades to each other, right? And finally, the volume. The volume, obviously $270, so significantly more expensive than what the Chopin will possibly be costing, and I will say this. Sonically, it is. To say better, it's a very strong word, because it kind of immediately says that the volume is the one and the Chopin. No, sonically, if you don't have issues with that supposed brightness that people mentioned or complained about in the volume, which I don't. Sonically, if that's not an issue, I would I pinned more towards the volume. It's just got some magic there, which I don't know what it is. I mean, soft ears, the RSV as well. It's got some magic, that set, that just keeps you going back to it, and the volume is precisely that. Now, is that magic there sufficient to justify the price? No, definitely not. So, I mean, if only these two IMs existed, and that one there for some reason broke down, and I was left with this one, would I be sad because I would have lost something? No, I wouldn't be sad. I definitely wouldn't be sad. I mean, it is very, very capable of doing, I would say, 95% of what the volume does for my ears. All right. Obviously, like I said, you got that price difference, which is the main reason for that. If they were to cost the same thing, which one would I then more confidently choose? I personally would choose the volume, but that's just me. Again, I think the fact that it's just a 1+2 and they've been able to tune it the way they've done to give such a satisfying sound is testament to soft ears knowing what they're doing. And there you have it, guys. I mean, I'll show you now the graphs, obviously, but there you have it. A wrap up here for the Chopin. Well done GIZAUDIO, well done Binary Acoustics. I think that it's maybe, I don't know, maybe they the cost involved didn't enable them to perhaps do a little bit better with regards to the cable or with regards to the case. Although, having said that, I mean, this costs $129 and brings a very nice cable, a much nicer cable than the actually, I've got the cable here. Oh yes, there we go. This is the stock cable of the Select Phoenix Core. I mean, proper terminations, not plastic. I mean, come on, guys. So, if they wanted, I think it could have been done. And also, in terms of the case, I would have preferred to have seen something maybe along the lines of the case that comes with Simgot's EM6L, or over the case that they used. I don't think that these two aspects would have radically changed the price of the Chopin, or would have affected the cost of the Chopin that much. Taking that aside, fantastic IM, honestly. If you have these ones that I've mentioned, no, it's maybe the only one here that would maybe make sense to really is this one. This combination, the Chopin is definitely better. The rest, it's good, but it's the value here, which and that's where the toughness of the market lies, is because let's be realistic here. Come on, all manufacturers, if they're going to launch an IM at $200, obviously they're going to try and do the best they can. And when you have IMs which have such similar tuning here, it's on the details then that the differences are told, and the details are accessories and packaging and cases and all that. That's what. And then yes, there can be some differences in the sound. Maybe it's got a little bit better bass, a little bit, but they're all gonna be around the same area. They're gonna be like 5% differences between them, and it's hard. It's very, very hard. So that's the reality. If you haven't got any of these, then this is definitely one of the IMs that you should consider as a top choice. Let's put it that way. All right. Anyway, guys, I'll show you now the graphs and we'll wrap it up. Hi guys, and welcome now to the graph section for the Binary Acoustics Chopin X GIZAUDIO Chopin. My apologies. And this is the graph stereo of the Chopin. As you can see, it's got that tucked bass, very nice sub bass emphasis, tucked by 200. It's flat, and then it just it's faultless. It's been very, very well tuned. Very smooth pin again, peaking at close to 3, and then that small drop, that slight, that slow progressive drop from there. everything sits within a window of roughly 73 to 89 dBs. So I mean, you could call this a Harman V-ish kind of signature, if there's such a thing. But anyway, nice. I mean, you look at the graph, nice. And even though it doesn't seem like there's a lot of energy up top, you know, usually if you keep this level here within the lowest part of the bass, of the transition of the bass into the mid, so if they are kind of aligned with each other, which you can see they are, usually that's not a problem, and that doesn't mean that the IM is going to be dark or anything of the sort. So anyway, that's the binary. I'm going to show you now the hexa, so that you guys can see where I kind of got my ideas of what I said. And I'm also going to show you the truth here 0 window with a 10 ohm impedance adapter. Okay, this is the hexa over here. Okay, that's the hexa. And as you can see, I mean, the bass is way leaner than what the graph shows. But in terms of how this section here has been done, very, very similar. And basically, I think that they could have gotten some inspiration. I mean, they've, you know, this area here, I think, is perhaps being dipped overly dipped, and it kind of lost a little bit of the detail. But on the other hand, because you don't have a lot of bass coming from behind, the hexa sounds very open, very airy. So I think this was one of the inspirations, and then the other inspiration I think they got from the Truth Here 0 with the 10 ohm impedance adapter, which is this one here. Actually, let me just change the color of this to something which we will see a bit better. There we go. All right. And let me just remove here the hexa for a second. As you can see, the bass kind of done in the very similar manner. Obviously, one is using a 10mm driver, the other one is using an 8, but very similar the way that this whole thing, I mean, this is Kryn. Okay, this is Kryn's tune. If you look, like I said, if you put the hexa on there, I wouldn't be surprised if it was also Krynical that had tuned the hexa, because it's got the same kind of signature, let's put it that way. And you know, with the Chopin, they are very, very equal. The difference really is audibly, of course, the hexa's got way less bass, but the 0 is got the same sort of bass, although it needs a little bit more power. It doesn't play as loud with so little power as the Chopin. And then there's that area here where the Chopin's got that little extra energy at 4 to 7K, as compared to the other two, which just gives a final sparkle to, you know, the female vocals and cymbals and certain instruments just come across just a little bit more extra detailed. Okay, all right, so that's those ones there. So let me just take here the 0 out of the equation so we don't get confused. The hexa as well. All right, and let's start comparing it then with some of the other IEMs. Sorry, let me just take away this one here as well. This one also can go, not needed. All right, okay, so let's compare now first. Actually, let's start with the Performer 5, just for the sake of starting in no specific order, but starting with something completely different. Okay, this is the Performer 5, and as you can see, although graphically there is a lot of similarities, and yes, sound-wise there's also a lot of similarities, you do notice that there is a little bit more sub-bass on the part of the Chopin as compared to the Performer 5, and also that over energy that sometimes you found on the Chopin. Somehow, although you would think they would be similar, it doesn't come across the same way here. Okay, so the upper mids to the, you know, the transition from upper mids to upper mids and then treble is done just ever so smoother in the Performer 5. Ultimately they trade blows. You know, that's the reality. They very much trade blows. There isn't much between the two of them. They are both excellent IMs, and having a Performer 5, if you go for the Chopin, it's not going to be a huge day and night improvement. Maybe a little bit extra bass, but that's it. Okay, so that's the Performer 5. Now, next one, let's talk about the Tension Cara. Let's change the color here to something that will also stand out a little bit more. Okay, so that's the Cara now. Take away the Cara. Very, very similar, as you can see, in terms of the graph. Also that kind of style of tucked bass, but it does go a little bit more than the Chopin before. It actually then just flattens out, but very similar overall, because you've got just that extra energy from here, and as well, I would assume that maybe the BAs doing the treble are not as detailed or not as quality, or there is some difference there, because you notice that the upper mids and treble on the Cara just don't seem as polished. They seem like one is crystal clean, the other one is glass clean, if that is an analogy that you guys will understand. All right, but otherwise, again, and if you see once more the sort of manner in which this information past 10K is done is kind of to be on the level of the bass, although here, because it's slightly lower, you do notice that the Cara is a little bit darker, while, for example, on the full, it's on par with the lowest point there of the mid-bass mids, so it's as detailed. It's got a lot of detail as well, the Performer 5. All right, so that's that one out of the way as well. Next one now, let's go for the Celeste, number 14. The Celeste, the Phoenix Call, it's the one that radically has the most different graph, without doubt. You don't have this sort of huge mid-bass difference between the two of them, you don't. And as well, I don't feel that there's this much more forwardness here as there is. What I do notice is that, again, a little bit like on the case of the Tension Cara, it's just a little bit less polished, that's all. But is it enough to justify the price? Definitely not, because this is $129. And the Celeste, the Phoenix Call, is a very good IM, okay? So that's the Celeste. Next one is the C Audio, the Yume 2. Upper mids, treble, extension, very equal to the Chopin, very equal. Just a little bit less energy in the bass, which is noticeable on the more bass heavy tracks, but not, again, a huge difference. Actually, I find, like I said, that the mids a lot of the times are as polished as the mids of the Chopin, although they only use 2 BAs, so got one less BA still. And the fact that they've been able to give such a nice, smooth sounding mids, upper mids, it is quite, it's a testament to, again, C Audio knowing what they're doing when they put their minds to it. Okay, and then finally the Soft Ears Volume, which was the one that I was saying that had the most energy in this 3, 4, almost 5K area. But when you listen to it, and that, I think the reason why that happened is because you have a little bit more energy in that mid-bass interval here than the Chopin, which helps kind of not deter, but just compensate the energy that you have on the upper mids and treble, which is above the energy of the bass. It just comes across as a little, as occasionally as darker. As slightly, darker is not even just a little bit less detailed. Otherwise, again, it's like I said in the review, personally, I prefer the volume, but that's me personally. But you know, if I only had these two IMs and the volume broke down, I would be more than happy with the Chopin. More than happy with the Chopin, because I know that some people complained about this energy here. It doesn't bug me, and that's why I say what I say. All right. Anyway, guys, that's the Chopin. I'm just gonna put again here quickly the C audio so you guys can see. I'm gonna put as well C audio, the cara. Okay, and I'm going to put as well the Performer 5. There we go. As you can see, they all graph very much. I mean, with the exception of the volume. Okay, the rest of them, they all graph very similar to them. And it's like I was saying, it's 5% differences here and there. You know, there's not huge day and night differences. Yes, you do see that green line there, which corresponds to the Tanstrom Cara, giving you an indication of the perhaps being the most bassy one. But the bass, no, the Chopin has got the same sort of bass and better quality, and that's down to the driver, because the driver of the Tanstrom is not on the same level of quality as the driver of the Chopin, unquestionably. Okay, the same kind of happens with regards to the driver used in the Performer 8, the Performer 5. It's very capable, it's a very good driver, it does its job well, but you notice that 8mm driver that they use in the Chopin is just that little extra more special, and it's able to just fetch that little extra detail, that extra resolution, that extra ability to resolve between different bass notes. Okay. Volume is, you know, the one that maybe you would think, okay, actually I took it out, sorry, the volume. It's the one that does stand out there in the mids, but in reality, when you listen to it, that's not, at least I didn't notice it, I didn't perceive it to be such an area of concern. Okay, and that's it. And ultimately the one that kind of is the most different graph as compared to these ones is the graph of the Phoenix called the Celeste, which is something completely different, as you can see. But it's one of those IMs that the graph doesn't correspond truly to what you hear, because when you hear the Celeste, the Phoenix call, if you have the chance, you will, I'm sure you will be saying very much a lot of the things that I said about it, which is it's a very musical, very nice sounding IM, a lot of fun and musicality. All right, and that's it, guys. I know this has been a long review, but hey, this is me. I like to be thorough. I like to make sure that I put my idea across properly, and that's it. As always, like and subscribe. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. If you want me to make any other comparisons of the Chopin, please tell me. I will be doing other comparisons nevertheless, because I mean, like I said in the beginning of the review, I was and am very impressed by the Chopin's performance. Very impressed. It impressed me. I'll just finish with this. People talked about the quintet. Oh, quintet, this, that. I didn't compare the quintet here because it just didn't happen. I could have. The price is going to probably be about the same, but the quintet never impressed me as much as what the Chopin did. All right, I'll leave you on that note. Guys, take care. Bye-bye.